Hello, everyone. Oh. Hello, we are going to start soon. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Arata-Fratta. I am the mayor for the city of Fitchburg, and I don't know how to use this microphone, sorry. But I have been the mayor since April 2023. If I have this funny accent, it's because I am originally from Argentina. So what we are doing, this is the last listening session for the year. We started in April to doing one in each district, and what we're trying to do is to give us an idea what is happening in the city and also what is happening specifically in each district. So tonight we're talking about district number 4. And also I have a couple of people, staff with me that I'm going to introduce shortly. So we have 2 hours. And we have done this. The first hour, all these people should be done by an hour. We should all talk in an hour. And then the second hour is all for you. You know, you can ask questions, comment. We need your feedback. We need to know what are the things that we are doing right, what are the things that we need to improve. If you are really mad about something, this is your time, an opportunity. So we are here to take the feedback. So in the first hour, I'm going to do a very short presentation about an update, like 30,000 views. And then District 4 Alder, your Alder, Michael Ladouce, is here. He's going to also share some inputs about the district. And then I'm going to introduce our new fire chief. Well, he started in June, but he's doing the tour with us. Chief Scott Sarver. Also, we are going to have an update from the police department. Chief Alfonso Morales here, he's on the back. And then our senior center also, they do a lot of activity and they have great information to share with you. And we have the director of the senior center, Jim McComb here. Also because in District 4 we have a couple of next year, a road reconstruction is very important for the district, and many of you will be affected. So we have our city transportation engineer, Ross Kohler, who is going to provide an update. He's over there. And finally, because in this district we are doing there are so many projects and initiatives, our Director of Economic Development, Mike Zimmerman, is here. He's going to also present all the great thing that is happening in this district. Okay, any questions so far? And I want to say thank you very much for coming tonight. So this is a picture of all the elected officials. So we have 2 alders per district. District 4, on Tuesday, Nicole Bafadare resigned to the council because she has her own company and 2 small kids, and she's going to prioritize family. So it's going to be a vacancy in that district. So you will receive more information from the city about how to, if anyone is interested to run, apply for the position. There's going to be some information soon. So this is the map of all the districts. What we are talking today is the blue area. This is District 4. So it's a big district, but population-wise, each district has the same population, around 9,000 people each. But District 4 is where all the farmland is. So this is what is big. Okay, some people ask me what are my role, and I have several roles in the city. I am not going to go in detail, but this is what I do. The mayor is a part-time position on paper, but it's more like becoming a full-time. And also I have a full-time job. I work for Wagner CPAs. I am a senior manager. and my background is accounting and finance. So I am trying to balance the two jobs, but I am very happy to be your mayor, and I enjoy it. So this is my role. I am the executive leadership because I am in charge of the city. I have a legislative role. I propose ordinance, resolution, policies. I am in charge of the budget and finance of the city. I propose my infrastructure budget every year and also my operational budget. I do community engagement. This is what I am doing tonight. I do coffee with the mayor. I'm doing ribbon cutting, and I do all of that. And also I do advocacy and policy. This is something that I have been working this year more intentional, working with other mayors and our state rep and senator to advocate for the city, what are our needs and how they can help us at the Capitol. And in case of any emergency, I'm supposed to be in charge of emergency management. But I have a great team, chief of police and fire, that they are going to be in charge. It's not going to be me, okay? So I'm going to tell you that. So some of the data from the city, like a highlight, we have more than 1,000 businesses in the city of Fitchburg, and we have a small business owner and a huge company like Promega, Sub-Zero. We have the Sub-Zero global campus over here, and they are moving all the operation to Fitchburg. So we have a diversity of industry in different clusters. Our employment rate is almost 2%, and our population, this is our new numbers from August this year. So we are 36,000 people. We grew almost 1,000 people since last year. So our equalized value also grew this year. We are $6.1 billion. Our 2024 budget is around 42, the operational budget, okay? This is the operation, is 42 million, and the 2025 is gonna be similar to that. And in 2024, we got AAA bond rating from Moody's. This is the highest rating that we can get, and we are 1 in 6 municipalities in the state of Wisconsin. It means that we have very good financing policies and procedures. We have, our debt ratio is low. We are growing in population and growing also with our equalized value. Our median income in the city is around $94,000, and our average home valuation, this is also a new number, is almost $500,000. Our entry-level home is kind of very high. So, we also partner with the Fitchburg Chamber of Commerce, and they have around 400 members. And our demographics is, we are a very well-diverse community, as you see. 63% is white, but the rest is, we have 16% Hispanic, I am one of them. Black, 11%, Asian 5%, and other 5%. So we are a very well-diverse community here in Dane County and in the state of Wisconsin. So my vision for the city is always, I will say, I want the city of Fitchburg to be one of the best cities to live in Dane County. I want the city to be safe, healthy, and thriving. And I want this city to be a welcoming and inclusive community. So the priorities, I'm gonna rush on that, but then if you have more questions, you can ask me later, or we can have a meeting. Always support safe and healthy neighborhood. We continue improving and investing in our areas of the city where there is a gap in socially, economically, and we have 4 neighbors in our city that we are working, and also maintaining the city infrastructure. As we grow, we need to invest in, road construction, sewer, water main, another facility, like we are investing in the police facility. And also we are building a water tower in the east part of the city. So all of those infrastructure cost millions of dollars. We are expanding our housing option because, as you know, in order to, we need to increase our supply of houses. And when we talk about what type of housing, we welcome any type of houses. But we are focused more creating the workforce housing or missing middle housing options. And we are, next year, one of the priorities for the council and myself is to work in the comprehensive plan. We are going to do an update that is a roadmap of how the city is going to grow in the next 10 years, and also updating our zoning code, because it has never been updated. The other priority that I have, along with the Common Council, is invest in transit connectivity. So we want to, you will see in my 2026 budget, I am allocating funds to improve the frequency of the line 65 and 75 and paratransit. And also we are working with Metro, with the BRT, the bus rapid transit that is going to come on Fitchburg Road, and maybe Ross, you can give us some update on that. Public safety is also one of my priorities. And as you know, the referendum failed last year, and we were asking for more staff, especially for the fire and police department. And the referendum failed, but the needs are still there. You know what I mean? I need more police officers and I need more firefighters. So that one will continue to be a priority that I want to be looking with the Common Council to determine how we can bring that, increase that. And the chief can tell you what are the things that he's doing in the police department to address that issue. One of the things is we always say that we want the best company to come to work to Fitchburg, to establish in Fitchburg. Like they pay good benefit, good wages, but also we had to lead also as a city. So for me, I want our organization, the city of Fitchburg, also to have, to be provide to our employees good wages, benefit, because retention is key. Most of our departments in the city are understaffed. So right now, we cannot lose people, okay, because it's more expensive. So you will see that in my 2026 budget, it was another of my priority to retention. Advanced sustainability initiative, as you know, we are a sustainable city and we have a lot of, we approve our sustainable plan in April, and climate change is real. We need to prepare the city for how it's going to affect in the future our infrastructure, health, and so we are working on that. Enhance resident engagement, like this is what we're doing. We are transparent with all our communication, our meeting at all. You can watch all our meeting through FACTv. We are doing all this meeting, so to be where the community is. And the most important is, for me, is maintain fiscally responsible tax policy. What I mean is, I need to balance the budget, the growth, levy limit capacity, and the existing resources. It's a very tricky thing to balance. But I need to maintain that the increases in taxes that we have, they are below inflation or part to inflation. Because as you know, we are not immune as inflation. And recently we have received bills from our health insurance, dental, construction costs, supply, everything's going up and up and up. So if we want to maintain the existing services, the excellent service that we provide, we need to maintain the balance. So some of the citywide updates, the infrastructure budget was approved in the summer. It's a plan, it's a 10-year plan, because what we want to do is, the infrastructure is the big item tickets, like road, facility, equipment, like the fire trucks, all of that costs a lot of millions of dollars. So what we do is we put together a 10-year plan, and we have an idea what are those projects that are coming in the next 5 years and after the next 5 years, and how we are going to pay for that. We use debt, we use grant, we have sometimes transport aid from the state. And then on last Tuesday, no, what is Tuesday? Today's Saturday. Yeah. This Monday, my proposed budget was published. You can see it is in the website. And next week, I want to present my proposed budget to the Finance Committee meeting. And I'm going to show you when is that. The council approved 2 neighborhood plans last Tuesday. We approved the sustainable plan. We are finalizing our first strategic plan. The idea is to finalize this by October, so next month. We also create a community and equity committee because we want to see that everything that we do from, when we put together a new park, road, bike trail, or any facility, we look at it with an equity lens. Everyone is included. We started with the process of the City Hall reorganization and renovation. As when the police facility was approved by the council last month, we broke ground 2 weeks ago, and construction will start maybe, I don't know, October 13th. So once the police department is out of the building, we need to decide what we're going to do with the space. And since we are, we have some issue with the space in the 2nd and 3rd floor, we are working on renovation of that part of the City Hall. We have a lot of park investment. If you have been driving around, you will see all the parks renovations, improvement. We created new parks. The economic development team is working on the City of Motion plan. That is another strategic plan, but more is our economic strategic plan. It's an update. We did it in 2017, and so we are working on that this fall. There is a lot of road reconstruction that Ross can explain in the east part of the city, and then it's going to move to the west part next year. And next year we are going to start with the update of the comprehensive plan and zoning code. Right now we are revising our housing plan, and we are working in a lot of housing initiatives. We call this initiative Building Homes, Strengthening Our Fitchburg Community. So we established an affordable housing fund that we have $10 million. That money is coming from the closure of 2 successful tax incremental districts that we can only use the money for affordable housing. And we have a couple of initiatives that Mike is going to explain later. And something that the council approved a couple of weeks ago, we approved a couple of new zoning changes to increase inventory and also to remove some barriers in our zoning. So as I mentioned, I published my proposed budget on Monday. You can see it's already under the Finance Department website. Next week, on September 30, I will do my presentation to the Finance Committee. You can follow us through FACTv, and the Council will have until October 24th to submit amendments to my budget. And then the budget is going to be approved November 11th at our regular Council meeting. My proposed budget included a property tax levy of $32 million, is 2.5 increase. And these are the 4 priorities of my budget. Public safety, number 1. I added the operational funding for the police facility. It's going to cost almost $500,000 a year to run the police facility. I expanded ambulance coverage on peak hours, and I invested in increased the wage base for the pay-on-call firefighters, and also some reclassification in the fire department. Quality of life, we are, I allocate funding for public transportation, paratransit, affordable housing and workforce housing initiative, and continuing investing in our healthy neighborhood program. Supporting employees, this is key, retaining and supporting city staff with competitive wages, benefit, and also what I did, I added another week of parental leave. Since I became mayor, in my first budget, I included 2 weeks. This year, I included another week, and maybe next year, if I have capacity in the budget, increase another week. I am doing incrementally. We have in our fire department and police department, we have a lot of young people. And I think we need to be competitive at providing them with good benefit. And also, finally, the most important is I want to make sure that what you pay for taxes to us is the best value for your services. So that one is to, in short, is I had to keep your taxes, as I say, below inflation or par inflation, because I cannot do more magic. But this is the goal. Okay, and if you don't receive information from the city, we have a couple of postcards here where there is a QR code that you can register and receive information via email or text about everything that's happening in the city. So this is my part. So now, if you have questions, you can ask me in the second hour, okay? Okay, so that's it. Mike, thank you.
Oh, I have one click to do, right? Hello, everyone. Getting blinded over here. I am Micah Latase. I'm the alder for District 4. I have been the alder since April, so I've been on the job for about 5 months. So just kind of getting into things, and I've done a lot so far, but I live in the Wildwood South neighborhood, so very close to here. I live just behind the church on Lacey and Richardson. I can walk through those woods and get to my house. So we have lived here since 2018 we moved here, and then prior to that we lived for another 10 years in Southwest Mass and probably less than a mile from the Fitchburg border. So I've been in the Dane County area for 25 years. And so let's see a little more about me. I have a 9-year-old daughter. She goes to Verona schools, so that keeps me busy. My background is I went to school for economics. I've worked in IT consulting for most of my career, so that's kind of my professional background. And yeah, so from like I said, I've been on council for 5 months. I guess I'd say my main priority, just from a personal level, is availability. So if you have questions or you email me, you will get a response, I assure you. And so that's just, I want to make sure that I am available, I am open for questions. I am available to meet. If you want to meet or you have questions or email, however you'd like to get a hold of me, I'm happy to talk. So I'll just run down a few of the developments in District 4. So North Storm Prairie, which is right here, we just opened the park in there that has a new playground, a new shelter. It's really nice. I was there for the ribbon cutting, and we were actually there the day before on just a random weekend day, and it was just packed with kids, and then it was packed again for the ribbon cutting. So, that's we have a ton of families in this area, so it's just really great to see that coming. Sunnyside Solar is in the south end of the city. That's a new solar farm that's going to be the first one that has battery storage in it, so that's kind of cool. And then another cool thing I'd like to point out is that they are actually going to use sheep to mow the lawn of the solar farm, so that is a cool little feature. And housing, so JT Klein, the senior housing, that is going to be on Nesbitt, based next to Gymfinity on Nesbitt Road. So that's going to be 180 units. I'm sure Mike will talk some about that too. The Juniper, which is on Lacey Road as you are way east and you hit the roundabout where Lacey turns. It's right on the right there, south of Lacey. So that just opened. It's 169 units. We were able to go through a tour for there. It's a really beautiful place. Gigi's Playground, we just approved the design for that, so that's going to be going in. That is a facility for kids and families who have Down syndrome. And they are moving, I think their space here is going to double what they currently have at their facility in Madison. They are just a great group. We're really excited to have them moving in. The facility is going to be awesome. And then, as the mayor mentioned, we just approved the 2 neighborhood plans, South Southern Prairie and Greenfield. That was on Tuesday. So South Southern Prairie is just over here. So if anyone has any questions about that, or it's kind of where the quarries are right now, so it'll be a couple of years before anything happens with that. But if you have any questions about what we approved or what was in that plan, I'm happy to talk. Road projects, so Fitchburg Road, I'm sure Ross will talk about this, but that is going to be under construction next year. So we're just kind of starting the kind of land acquisition that we need to do and things like that. I will talk a little about that. So Fitchburg Road's under construction next year. South Saline is under construction this year. And one question that everyone asks me about is Lacey between Fish Hatchery and Seminole. My house is right there. I drive that road every day, so I understand that road. Part of the reason that that has not happened or has not been repaved is because of those 2 South Saline and Fitchburg projects. So basically we have 2 big north-south corridors being reconstructed, and it's tough to then also do an east-west main road when you're doing the north-south ones as well. So we are not intentionally being mean to Lacey Road. We will do it. I think it is currently scheduled for 2027. So we will have like 1 more year of it. And so, but feel free to ask me any questions about that. And then we are getting a new youth correctional facility near where the current correctional facility is on the Oregon border. This comes basically, we had no real input on this happening. This is Department of Corrections land. But it is coming with the closing of the facilities, the youth facilities in Green Bay, I believe. And so basically they're now building kind of smaller facilities so that the youth who need to be in these facilities can then be closer to their families. It provides them with then easier access to their families being able to visit. And we've seen the designs for it. It's very nice. It looks more like a school than a correctional facility. So that's coming. Economic development, I'm just going to let Mike handle it because he's going to do a way better job than I am. So I think I have one more slide here. What do I hit? There we go. So the one thing that is unique about District 4 is we have almost all of the agricultural land in the city. So you saw that map before with all of the blue on it. We have the same number of population of every other district in the city, but we're probably 70% of the land area in the city. And so we have 11,000 acres of agricultural land. Like this says up here, like 50% of the total land in Fitchburg is farmland. And I just want to recognize that and call that out. We have like a long history and heritage of farming in this community. Just Fitchburg in general, we have 36-ish thousand people. But if you look at the other cities in the state that have that many people in them, they are way, way smaller from an area size. Like our area is similar to a lot of cities that have 70 or 80,000 people in them. And so it's a unique feature. And so I just want to call that out and make sure people are aware of that. And all right, I will hand it off to Chief Server.
What do I have to click?
It's that one.
Okay, thanks. Hello, everybody. Oh, it's bright up here. I have to stand on this side of the room so the camera can see my face again. So, not a face for camera. My name is Scott Sarver. I started in June, as the mayor said, as the fire chief. I came out to Wisconsin from Colorado, actually, in the Denver area. I was born and raised in eastern Iowa, so I'm very familiar with Wisconsin as far as vacation and traveling with my family when I was a kid. I graduated from the University of Iowa, which I know the Badger, Hawkeye thing, I understand. I think I'm quickly becoming a Badgers fan. And then I went out to Colorado and did all that ski bum stuff and got involved in the fire service. And this is my 29th year in the fire service. And like I said, I've been in Fitchburg for 4 months. And I'm really enjoying it. I came from a very large fire department out in Colorado, so one of my goals was if I wanted to move up to the chief level is get to a smaller organization where it was much more personal. I was much more involved in the actual service to the community and things like that. So luckily everything came together, and my family and I moved out here in May, and I started here in June. And I feel like after 4 months, I'm getting to know the folks pretty well that I work with, getting to know the city staff, getting to know Fitchburg. I don't have to use my Google Maps as nearly as much. But it's going great, and I can tell you have a great bunch of firefighters and EMS personnel out there running or serving the city. So it's been a true pleasure getting to know those folks. And I will just clear this question up. I do have stable mental health, and everybody asked me about that, about moving from Colorado to Wisconsin. I think a lot of people, no matter where you're at, you take places for granted. And I think Wisconsin is a truly beautiful state, and my whole family feels the same. And so no, we're pretty stable, and we're very happy with where we're at. So about the fire department. So we have 3 stations. One of them is right here on Lacey Road, close to you guys, and the other one, Station 2, is right up the road here. And then Station 3 is over on Syene Road. So we actually staff response firefighters out of both Stations 2 and 3. The station on Lacey is an administrative building that we share with UW Safe Kids. So we store extra trucks there. We also have the Emergency Operations Center there for the county, or it's the backup Emergency Operations Center for the county. And then the fire department administration works out of there as well. So that's how we're set up. For the last, I'd say 10 years, the call volume in Fitchburg has gone up fairly significantly. You can see the graph up here and some of the numbers associated with that. And we'll talk about some of those challenges that creates for us on the next slide. But you can see some of these years are in the 20% increase in call volume, as well as last year was a 9% increase. And right now in 2025, we're right about tracking a 7% increase in call volume. And that varies. We actually have had the last 2 months where it slowed down a little bit compared to last year, so that's good. But again, call volume's increasing, obviously population's increasing, I would say disproportionately from across the state in Fitchburg. So we're responding well, we're getting out the doors, we have great stations and good equipment and really motivated folks. But one of the things that we're really struggling with, obviously, is the funding, right? And you're gonna hear a lot about that tonight. The mayor's already talked about it quite a bit. Is that we're seeing recruitment and retention issues. So about 10 years ago, I'm told that we used to have about 50 to 60 on average year to year part-time firefighters, or what we call paid on-call firefighters. Right now we have 18. So I think you see across the country, and especially in my industry, volunteerism and part-time firefighters aren't finding the time in their lives to be able to continue to do that. Whether it's because they're working a second job with maybe higher pay or something like that, or life just gets busy. So we're seeing, as well as the rest of the country is seeing, these issues. So with the increasing call volume, the challenge of the recruitment and retention and maintaining that part-time staff, it's really affecting our career staff. The Fitchburg Fire Department has a very good reputation in the state of Wisconsin for how we train, how we respond, and how we're organized. We're one of 3 fire departments in the Dane County area that operates out of more than one station. So we do have those opportunities. We are an attractive organization as far as recruitment goes. It's just, again, overall numbers struggling in the fire service. So when you combine all that together, and then how the levy limits work and the net construction numbers and things like that, there's just not a lot of room in there to bring on a lot more full-time staff. So we're trying to be as creative and innovative as we can. We work with Fitch-Rona EMS, and they are a district within the county, and they serve both Verona as well as Fitchburg, and they operate out of our stations. They are a separate entity, though. So we work well with them. We co-respond with them to calls out of our 2 stations. So that works really well and helps for a lot of efficiency as far as availability of those emergency resources. So we're doing everything we can. I can tell you your people are working really hard. We just really need to focus on our recruitment and retention. As well as trying to find good ways to attract folks here and keep that salary and benefits where they need to be. We're doing okay in that area as far as the comparables in Dane County and across the state of Wisconsin. So if we can maintain that, hopefully we can keep driving that recruitment up and keep delivering the great service that we deliver. Oh, so going back, but I wanted to mention just down the road here, we're on October 4th, we're gonna, at our Station 2, right up here by the Seminole Tap and that area up there, we're doing our open house from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it'll be a lot of fun, especially if you have kids or grandkids or something like that, bring them out, or if you just wanna stop by, should be fun for you too, but we'll be talking a lot about fire safety and doing some fun stuff there. So we're looking forward to that public event. Yeah, and I think after we're all done talking, we'll be able to answer some questions, so looking forward to that.
With slides? Yeah. Okay. Got it. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here. Just wanted to show some of our calls for service here and piggyback off of what the mayor commented, and I'm going to give you a little bit more background on how fast the city's growing and how difficult it is for us to provide the resources that you need. That kind of still puts down a lot of emphasis on the plan that the mayor has for the city. Here's what we have: citizen-generated calls and officer-initiated calls for service. We had struggled in the last 4 years with officer staffing. And the type of staffing that was created is after 2020, there was a mass exodus of experienced officers who retired early or went to other departments for more money. The Dane County Sheriff's Office, with 20 years of service, you can get over $120,000 a year to work the jail. City of Fitchburg can't afford to pay our officers that. I wouldn't pay our officers to just work the jail. That's a lot of money. But that's what we're competing with at the municipal level. What has happened since is we've been doing a lot for recruiting and retention. Our recruiting has done pretty well. We've been filling the slots of the officers, and more importantly, is once they're off of field training, they can work on their own. Some of you have seen this presentation, but when you see our officer activity going up, that's pretty amazing. When you're looking at these numbers, most of you may not know that our minimum staffing levels are 4 officers out on 34 square miles per shift. That's our minimum. Can we get up to 6, 7 full staffing? Yes. But if people call in sick, vacations, field in-service training, we're down to 4 out on the street. 34 square miles. That's what you have. And to have this type of activity and the activity growth, which one here is for the laser? The laser? Do we have the laser in here? In the middle. In the middle? Oh, there. If you look at the increases, what we're doing now, which is going to be interesting for you, I don't know if this has it doesn't show what we're doing for traffic. The city of Fitchburg is a very safe city. And when you hear about public safety, whether it's police or fire, you're saying, well, the city's safe, why do we need these services? Well, you're growing, we're growing at a pace where the city is, the traffic that you have, the pedestrian traffic, the vehicle traffic, just on a day-to-day basis, issues that happen, police or fire are called. People fall, people get in accidents, you need medical. Police have to investigate the accidents. It's important. And those are the services that you need the staffing for both the police and fire. But I want to share one piece that I didn't have on the slide here, is what I'm trying to do with our traffic, our visibility, is to see if our crashes go down. And I've been watching our crashes for 3 years, and there has been no change. And when you see the increases in traffic, last year's traffic increase of activity was even higher. So why aren't we seeing a drop in accidents if we're seeing a lot of activity by law enforcement to slow traffic down? One of the things that one of the theories in that piece is maybe we're doing traffic in different areas. We're doing traffic in the areas where our alders send us information on, or maybe the mayor gets a complaint that we deal with, or we get the call directly. What we're gonna do is look at our map and try to do traffic in some of the areas that we still have accidents, but there is no complaints. Maybe that will drive the number down, or maybe, I don't know, we're gonna look, but that's kind of what we're trying to play around with our finite resources. We don't have a lot to put out there, but we are working on maybe doing our traffic in areas that aren't complaints, but are experiencing crashes. So I just wanted to let you know that piece. Internal restructuring, a lot to talk about, but as the mayor stated, we failed a referendum to bring in more officers. The city is growing at over 1,000 residents a year. We're at the mayor indicated we're over 36,000. When you do, whether we look at national averages, Midwest averages, statewide averages, the city of Fitchburg, for our staffing levels in law enforcement, are the lowest. What we need to do is keep our officers that we do have out in the streets. We looked at our services and tried to figure out a way where we can keep our officers out on the street and do whatever administratively inside with our civilian staff. What we did is we eliminated our dispatch services. The county, which they did when we were short-staffed and we didn't have a dispatcher, they were already taking over some of our services. Mid-October, they will go full-time, and county dispatch will dispatch our officers. So that's 4 positions, which was already understaffed. And we took 3 police officer positions to create a full-time social worker that we were sharing with the senior center, support service specialist supervisor that's going to supervise our records department, on top of a support service specialist. We still have to handle calls that come in, people that come into the building for reports or complaints. We call it handling the window. So we have to handle those calls. We're created an evidence manager, which is key. The evidence manager will not only manage our evidence, but process evidence for our police officers. I didn't bring my cell phone up here, but several investigations require to do follow-up on video, on cell phones, processing of evidence for latent prints, you name it. The officers are doing all of that. So if I'm telling you there's days when we're at minimum staffing with 4 officers, now they get caught up on an investigation, where's that officer at? In the police station, doing that kind of work. If we had an evidence manager, which we created, they can pass that work on to that evidence manager and get back out on the street. We're creating a lieutenant position, which will be the highest ranking person during the night shift, to keep the sergeants out on the street. They can handle the administrative workload that comes from a daily basis. Per our policies, we have to randomly review body camera video. We have to review police officer reports for accuracy. We have several different things that we want to push towards accreditation that has to be done administratively. If we put that on our sergeants, and our sergeants aren't out on the street supervising our police officers. So we created one of 3 future shift lieutenants, they're called. So we got 1 out of this, and we're also getting a detective sergeant position that will be managing our detectives and also ensuring accountability on investigations to ensure that the proper follow-up is being completed, that we're getting our investigations, given that service that the city of Fitchburg deserves. The new police station, as you heard, we're gonna have the equipment start digging on October 13th. It sounds like you hear a lot about public safety. This police station is 11 years in the making. It started in 2014 through research of the City Hall, and how City Hall was overgrown in 2014, and your biggest group that was in City Hall was your police officers. Police department was established in 1971 and has not had its home. We've been in the basement of 3 different buildings, and we're in the basement of City Hall now. So although it may sound there's a lot of attention that's being placed, there's a lot of attention that was not given to public safety for several years. That's what you're doing. That's what the city of Fitchburg is dealing with today. We're finally getting our police station. It's finally going to go up, and it will help with our retention with the finite resources and officers that we have and staff. They'll have a place to work in that will feel a lot more healthier than what it is. Again, as I indicated, the staffing and recruitment, we're constantly working on that. It seems like every time we take 2 steps forward, we take 1 step back with staffing. A police officer now, if they have the qualities of being a decent police officer, if they move anywhere in the state and want to work for another department, and we all are part of the Wisconsin retirement system, they pack up and leave. And it's not like it used to be where a police officer will get a job, work 25, 35 years, and retire from the same place. That's not those staff you have. We need to, what I'm working on with our staff is to keep them engaged and make this job feel more of a sense of accomplishment, adventure every time you get out on the streets, communication, work with your community. If the community engages with you and it's positive, it's good for us and it's good for the community. Doing several things just to get them to engage in. What I say is have fun coming to work. If you like to come to work, you want to stay with that job. And that's what my goal, that's my work to keep the community safe here for the city of Fitchburg. How far did I go past?
No, please. We are big fans. All of us. Okay, who's next? Jim? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. No, he has 5. Okay, there we go.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Jill McCone, the director of the Fitchburg Senior Center. I'm going to share a little bit about our programs and services and our senior center in general. I'm going to start off with our staff up in the top left there. We have myself, Assistant Director David Hill is the man there. Susie Jones, our office manager. We have 2.5 social workers, as the chief mentioned. We share a social worker with the police department. That's going to change, but we'll keep our 2.5. Nutrition site manager, volunteer coordinator, and then we also have a LTE position that helps us in the kitchen. I'm going to talk about our Commission on Aging Well members in the bottom corner there, and thank several of them for being here tonight for the program. Commission on Aging Well is a city-appointed commission, and all of the policies and programming and big decisions go through the Commission on Aging Well. And this year we're embarking on an outreach effort, a year-long outreach effort, to really build awareness about the Senior Center and really try to engage more people of color in our programs and services. So thanks for coming out tonight. So the Senior Center, a lot of people think about bingo when they think about senior centers, and it's kind of appropriate. September's National Senior Center Month theme is Flip the Script on Aging. And that's really what our Senior Center is trying to do. We're really a vibrant hub, building connections and providing services and support for the mind, body, and the soul. It's a big ask, but we're really trying to do it, and I think we're being pretty successful. So we have a lot of different programs from active to passive. We try to have a lot of fun, we do continuing education, and it just really runs the gamut, and we're pretty proud about having about 250 people come through the doors every day for all kind of activities, with bingo being one, but also an iPhone class. So again, it runs the gamut. Our services, I think this is more of a hidden secret about the senior centers. I'll start on the left with transportation. We don't have enough. I'm appreciative of the mayor trying to expand Metro to come down to the senior center. But right now we get some funding from Dane County to provide transportation for lunch every day. That's Monday through Friday. We also, that same contract allows folks to go grocery shopping, so it's a door-to-door service with a $1 donation. And again, that funding comes from the county, which is funneled down from federal Older American Act funding. We also have volunteer drivers that take people to medical rides, which is a really critical program, especially here in Fitchburg, where we don't have a lot of bus access. So drivers will come to their homes, pick them up, stay at the doctor, and bring them back home after. That's through the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. They can get reimbursed, but a very critical program. Health and wellness, we have a huge gamut of health and wellness, from Tai Chi to biking, as you saw. We have a functional fitness chair exercise class, yoga. We got indoor walking, outdoor walking, goes on and on. Social work services, so that's kind of that hidden gem. So this also, we do get some funding from Dane County to provide social work services to those in the community, with the goal of keeping people healthy, independent, and in their home for as long as possible. For two reasons: because nobody really wants to move into a facility if they don't have to, and secondly, it's very cost effective to provide services at home than having to go somewhere prematurely, a nursing home, assisted living. So social workers work with clinics and hospitals and churches and families and neighbors, really to just identify people that might need extra support, work with them to put supportive services in place, and then when the time does come, to maybe move them to the next living environment. Over the years, we're seeing a lot more challenging cases. Right here in Fitchburg, we're facing a lot of homelessness, a lot of mental health, a lot of food insecurity, just like everywhere else in Dane County, so we're not exempt from that. Social isolation became a term, I think, over COVID. People started paying attention to that. It's something we already knew, that senior centers can really combat social isolation by getting people in the building and get them socially connected, which is why we try to offer a wide variety of programs so they can just develop friendships and feel a part of something bigger than themselves. A lot of folks that come every day, we are the only person that they see, so it is really important to engage them and make them feel like they are part of something. And then last, a lot of educational opportunities. Janice Hughes is in the back there. She runs a lunch and learn twice this month with a variety of speakers and topics to really meet the needs of a lot of people. They're fun, they're educational, they're interactive. And so along with that, we also do a lot of programming to keep people challenged mentally. So very quickly, because I know we got 2 more speakers, but if you have questions, feel free to ask me after. Otherwise, thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Hi, everybody. I am Ross Kaler. I'm the transportation engineer with the city. Here we go. So I've been with the city about 3 years. I'm the one who tears up your roads and leaves them all impassable all summer. So sorry about that. But the big one I want to hit here pretty quickly, and feel free to ask me any other questions about public works projects after this, but Fitchrona Road, you all know where that is, but we're putting a roundabout at Lacey Road and Fitchrona. That'll help the traffic a lot there and improve safety. I'm sure anybody who's been through that intersection knows that stop sign does not really feel very safe. There's going to be a multi-use path and major stormwater improvements up under the highway bridges. That road floods all the time. So these stormwater improvements will go hand in hand with some stuff we're doing in Goose Lake. That's that body of water to the west there. All of this drains into Goose Lake, and we need to improve the drainage there and out of the other end of Goose Lake as well. Property negotiations for this project start this week, and then construction will start in spring of 2026. So if you have any questions, you can scan that QR code really quickly. That'll take you to the project website, and feel free to ask me afterward. Thank you.
So we are behind almost
10 minutes behind, but I talk fast, even though I got a lot of slides here. So I'm Mike Zimmerman. I'm the Economic Development Director for the City of Fitchburg. Been here 30 years, believe it or not. And I live in Hatchery Hill, which I like to refer to as downtown Fitchburg. So thanks for coming out tonight. Good to see everybody. Even though Fitchburg is one of the fastest growing communities in the state of Wisconsin, our goal has never been to grow the fastest. It's always been to focus on the quality of development that's going to stand the test of time. In 2024, we had $196 million of building permit activity with a good balance of single family, multifamily, and commercial construction activity projects throughout the city. And now I'm going to give you just a quick little tour of some of the economic development activities happening around the city, and then we'll talk about housing for a little bit. I'm going to start just over the border in District 3 on the west side across from the Super Target, because we get a lot of questions of what's all the dirt being moved and what's coming over there. So along the front, right on McKee Road, I guess the arrow thing doesn't work real well, but we've got Chase Bank at Fitchrona and McKee, then we've got Chick-fil-A, then we've got a Crew Car Wash coming, and then a McDonald's along the front. Under construction, north of Fitchrona, where it veers to the east, is what they call a Texas Wrap apartment building, where there's a 4-story parking structure in the middle with the residential units wrapped around it, 273 units that'll open next spring. In the middle, the orange boxes there, the developer's trying to bring us a collection of what they call the junior boxes, everything from a Ross for Less, an Ulta, hopefully something from the Max portfolio. So that would be a TJ Maxx, a Marshalls, or a Home Goods, one of the three there. The one I think people are most excited about, but I'm trying not to get people's hopes up just because it's only a letter of intent. So until they start investing some significant money, it's not a done deal, but there is interest from Trader Joe's for that area. So we'll see. The city would love to have a Trader Joe's, so we'll do everything we can to try and bring that to Fitchburg. Then there's going to be an outlot that could be possibly a Chipotle or maybe a Starbucks over there. And here you can see this is the Texas Wrap building. In the lower right, you can see the parking structure, and then they start to wrap the units around it. And one thing I should mention, back here on the northern third, on the left side there, the developer of the Texas Wrap has submitted a comp plan amendment to bring a second building there. So that'll wind its way through the approval this fall. Then the senior housing development along Nesbitt Road, just north of Gymfinity Gymnastics. We're working with JT Klein, just had a conversation with him today. This is going to be 100 market rate senior apartments and then 80 light tech affordable units using WIDA tax credits there. So we're really excited about that project to bring more senior housing on the west side of the city. Then you might have noticed the building under construction adjacent to Pancake Cafe. That will be a Spring Hill Suites by Marriott. Our friend Raveen Shah, who owns the Staybridge Suites, got the Marriott flag, so this is his second property, which we're really excited to bring. It was going to be open for World Dairy Expo, but they're a little behind schedule, so I think it's going to be more likely January. But if you have friends and family coming to town, definitely utilize our Fitchburg hotels. We appreciate that. Then on the east side of Verona Road, in 2024, we created a tax increment finance district over there, a TID district, to reclaim one of those remnants of our township days where we've got quarries right in the heart of the city of Fitchburg. So we're looking to put this to productive tax space for business, commercial, and industrial development. And we're working with Payne and Dolan on the reclamation of those quarries. Then in the Fitchburg Business Park and Commerce Park area, our friends at General Beverage finished their headquarters expansion late last year. Really neat facility expansion for them. In the building just kitty corner and across from the theaters at 2919 Commerce Park, right in the middle, the Painters Union that used to be over off of Capec and King James Way purchased that building and are going to be renovating the exterior of that. And then the Oak Retail Building, the next tenant that's going to be going in there is co-working space. So that's some of the build out that's happening on one of the end caps of that building. Oops. And then our friends over at the Sub-Zero campus, they have almost 2 million square feet under roof here in Fitchburg with 2,000 employees that work over the 3 shifts on that campus. And in the middle there, you can see the facility that's under construction just north of the barn. And that is actually their headquarters and conference facility. So they will be moving all of their executive offices to Fitchburg in January. So as their signs already say, we truly will be Sub-Zero Group's global campus here in Fitchburg and their headquarters, which we're excited about. That's been a 28-year partnership with them with all the different expansions that they've done here in Fitchburg. And then our friends at Edgewood College, working with our friends Tom and Pat O'Brien, purchased 40 acres, and they're still formulating their concepts and plans for an athletic campus just west of the Badger State Trail bike trail and south of Lacey Road. This will consolidate all of their athletic campus and athletic programs in one location. Then we worked quietly for about a year and a half with the Verona School District. And they acquired the 60-acre Lacey Farm. And Fitchburg is unique in that we're part of 3 school districts, so we've been working with each of the respective districts to locate place-based schools in our community. And they acquired the 60-acre Lacey Farm, and in approximately 20 years, we will see a second Verona area high school here in the city of Fitchburg. This is one of those generational kind of catalytic projects that we're really excited about, and we're happy to collaborate with the Verona Area School District. And then just to the south of us here, at Seminole Highway and Lacey Road, south of the Hop House, the farm there where the barn was falling down, the Newcomb Construction Company is going to be acquiring that, and you can see the 5 buildings in the southern quad there that'll have about 304 multifamily units. Then there will be a mixed-use building to the north and then a commercial building in the orange there. And they're going to be starting, probably the southernmost building will be the first one on this site, and that'll probably start in spring of next year. So bringing us some additional multifamily housing. And being one of the fastest growing communities and being unique with our urban service area, we've needed additional land for growth and development. We're out of lots right now in the Verona Area School District on the west side here. So the council on Tuesday night approved 2 neighborhood plans. The blue one, South Verona Prairie on the left side there, and then the Greenfield plan, the rust-colored one, which is on the right-hand side here. So that'll bring us some additional land, although it's not immediate. It's going to be based on when that land is available. We've got quarry operations in South Stoner Prairie yet, and then it's going to depend on the landowners in Greenfield and their motivations of when their land might be available in the future. And then housing has become a local priority, just with the cost of housing and affordability and availability. So we've instituted, or the council adopted a housing plan in 2019. And we've been quietly implementing a lot of those activities. We launched a housing advisory committee that meets every 2 months. We've got $10 million in the bank for our affordable housing fund because we have multiple successful tax increment districts that we could close and keep open 1 more year for housing. We actually hired a housing initiatives and program specialist. She's been with us 1 year now, Lorene Gage. And these are some of the programs that we're working on. We've got a rental rehabilitation program focused on those smaller mom and pop multifamily buildings to reinvest in that older housing stock. We're working with some LIHTC, that's the WIDA program again, to bring more new affordable units. We're gonna do some land banking where we might work with Habitat for Humanity or the Community Land Trust to bring us some affordable housing. And then we're looking to launch a down payment assistance program, hopefully establish an emergency housing fund for seniors, and then incorporate workforce housing within market rate units where there would be 10% of the units available for people that are at 60% of Dane County median income. We think that's a really healthy way to integrate more workforce units throughout the city. And then we're looking at public-private partnerships, possibly using tax increment finance districts, and the first project on that might be with our own local developer, Gary Gorman. And here you can see Fitchburg, we should be averaging 100 to 150 single-family housing starts every year. You can see after the last housing bust in 2008 and 9, we were stuck at less than 50 housing units per year. That's part of the reason why we've got an imbalance here of supply and demand. We've caught up kind of the last 5 years, but this year we're probably going to be under 100 again. And that's not that there's not interest in demand, it's just that we don't have enough lots available. So one of the reasons why we move forward with those neighborhood plans. We continue to keep a pipeline of multifamily, but we really want to keep that healthy balance of single family, multifamily ownership, and then multifamily rental. That would be the best balance for us. And then lastly, just a couple more. Hartung Fields on the east side. The Juniper opened, 169 units in the second building now. The foundation is under construction there. That one's going to have, I'll show you on the next slide. But on this slide, we also have 51 townhome units that kind of rim the 3 yellow boxes up there, bringing us a really good supply of townhome rental units. And then here's the second building that's coming in the upper right. There, that's going to be 210 units. And then you can see Gigi's Playhouse, which is fronting on Lacey Road as well. That's under construction. This is some land we'd love to see come into development here. This is at Fitzroy and Lacey that Payne and Dolan owns. But there's some technical requirements as far as fill that they need to do to ready this for development. But we keep sending single-family developers their way, hoping that they reach agreement, because we would love to have that available right now with being out of lots in the Verona School District. And then lastly, this is 11 single-family lots. We're trying to find single-family land wherever we can within the city that's vacant and try and move that forward. So there's 11 single-family lots that are available in the Oak Meadow subdivision. Lots of good stuff happening in Fitchburg, lots more to come, and happy to chat afterwards and answer any questions. And I've got my business cards on the table there too. Feel free to, if you see something as you're driving around the city and have questions, and you're like, what's that all about? Feel free to give me a call. I'm happy to answer any questions. That's my last one. Yeah. Quick, huh?
Okay, so we are here to answer questions. Or you have a comment? Yes. Oh.
Hello, my name's Paul Algiers. I've been a resident of Fitchburg since 1998, and I've had a problem with Fitchburg from around the year 2000 that keeps happening. My problem is with the enforcement of ordinances that the city has as to the upkeep of properties. I have a neighbor's property that has been, if I look at the ordinances, just glancing at them, they're probably in violation of 10 or 12 ordinances without going into deep. I met you in 2016 when my wife and I had a petition, and we got a new ordinance put on the books that would help us solve the problem. It has not been enforced. None of the ordinances are enforced. When I meet city officials, they're all saying, oh, I would hate to live next to that. That's terrible. We'll help you. Nothing happens. The city sits and sits and sits and does not do anything. I want to know why ordinances are not enforced. I understand it's complaint-driven enforcement. I have a history of, since the year 2001, I have a file deep at home, and I would like you as the mayor to maybe call me, meet with me. We can go over everything again. I met with you in 2016 and with all the other alderpersons. And I just, recently, it'll be a year now since I've been working with members of the city team, in contact with them every 2 to 3 weeks. So we have a huge nuisance ordinance. They have acknowledged that these are huge violations. And my wife and I are losing our patience with the city. It's a great city. I feel safe in the city, the wonderful police department. I know a lot of the police officers, or most of the retired ones, from the Oasis Cafe. Great place. I feel safe with fire protection. We use the library. We have good services. But for some reason, I don't know that the city is afraid to enforce. I understand with nuisance properties, there is a state ordinance or a state statute that allows the city to go on and clean up a property and attach it to the tax bill. And my brother's an attorney in another municipality, and they use that often. When I mention it to the city officials, they dig their heels in about it, but they can't do anything to help clean up this property.
So I'm going to give you my business card so we can set up a meeting. And your property is on Sain Road, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
Okay. Yeah, I am aware of that situation. I'm going to follow up with, the city administrator and the inspection department. I know about the situation. I am not in the nitty gritty of the issue, you know what I mean? But I'm going to follow up.
It's 25 years.
No, I know. I drove by and I know what you're talking.
Please help.
Yeah. You can schedule a meeting with me and Micah. He's your rep in the council, so we can, we can follow up with administration. I'm sorry for what you're going through. Yes, Pat.
Pat O'Brien. I had a number of questions. I don't know, you can limit me to one. My first question was about the cost of housing. You mentioned something about the average cost of housing here in Fitchburg was around $500,000.
Yes.
How does that compare to the average cost in Dane County? Do you have any?
What type of cost?
The average cost of a home in Dane County. Any idea?
It's the same, yeah.
It is about the same.
Yeah, it's the same, but.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
similar.
There are
Second,
some other municipalities like town of Middleton that are more expensive. Yes.
all right. Secondly, when Fitchburg merged with the town of Madison, was there any, Chief, you may not know this, but was there any fire department equipment acquired with the town of Madison?
It wasn't worth it, anything.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay,
It was nothing was at our staff, no.
okay.
We didn't bring anything.
No squads, all of that was already outdated
Yeah, so-
for any of the equipment that the town of Madison had.
Okay. Thirdly, Fitchrona Road. How far down Fitchrona Road is that development going to go? And what type of, is it going to be a boulevard, 2-lane improved, or Fitchrona Road is a tragedy?
Yeah, so that particular project is going to be from Tonto Trail to the south up to Nesbitt, where the nice new road starts. Yeah, just south of that roundabout, and it's going to be. Oh, there we go. So yeah, it's kind of blurry, but yeah, Tonto Trail up through Lacey Road and up to Nesbitt. That is going to be mainly a 2-lane road. Through the roundabout, there will be islands and stuff like that you normally get with a roundabout. But it'll have buffered bike lanes on each side and a multi-use path on the Fitchburg side, the east side. Part of that is to help with drainage, and then obviously we've got paths up by the Nesbitt roundabout, and then we just built one on Lacey, so that'll all kind of continue through there.
Something like Lacey is from Seminole to Fitchrona?
Yes, it will be pretty similar to that, yeah. And that roundabout on Lacey at Seminole Highway is very similar to what we're putting in at Fitchrona and Lacey. And then actually to the south, down about half a mile or a mile from here, south of here on Fitchrona, we're also resurfacing that part of the road So in between these sections, the town of Verona maintains, and then we maintain another section to the south. We're gonna be resurfacing that as well. We're gonna try to fit that in next year, but we're, again, trying to not isolate people with road construction on all sides in the middle, so you can't go north and can't go south. So we're gonna try to find a spot in the year where we can do that resurfacing. That'll be a lot quicker. It's just repaving the road. It's not all the curb and gutter and roundabout and all that stuff that we're doing up on this northern section.
I drive school bus through there, so it's. I drive school bus through there, so it's, that Fitchburg Road is bad, and fix Lacey as soon as you can. Well, yeah, I mean, coming to Stony Prairie and Savannah Oaks it's a nightmare. The buses don't have much suspension in them anyway. And the road is terrible. The other question is, could we take a look at the South Stony Prairie neighborhood plan again, Mike? You kind of breezed through that pretty quick. Can we, how far does that go? What are the boundaries on the south?
Oh, on the south?
Yeah,
I think it's,
the road boundaries.
which one, let me see it.
So I think I'm getting this right. So so your top red line here is Lacey Road. So where that hits the red, so that's going to hit Fitchburg, that's where your roundabout will be. If you kind of notice on the last map where Tonto Trail was, I believe that is that the bottom one or is it the middle?
It's the middle.
So yeah, that's like the middle main road there. That's where essentially Tonto Trail is right now. And so then coming down a little farther is to Grandview. Yeah, so Grandview Road is kind of the lower edge of that. And then so directly to the east that will be the Edgewood Athletic Campus right there.
And then for east-west, that north-south road, that's Commerce Park Drive, so just getting some.
Yeah, I'll repeat it just because I'm on the mic. So yeah, the main road coming north-south, in between all the brown and like that hatched area there, that's Commerce Park Drive. So where you would come through like the sub-zero area, and then would come straight down there, yeah.
Okay. So the right boundary is what road? As I look at it, the far.
Yeah, there's essentially not a road there, so like essentially what will be there is the Edgewood Athletic Campus, and then the other side of that is Seminole Highway, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Other questions?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Thompson, and I had a few questions for different people. On the strategic plan, I did, behind the scenes, submit some feedback. But otherwise, there really hasn't been out there like the other plans. I'm a bit concerned that, yes, there was data collected up front and SWOT analysis and so forth, but there's not going to necessarily be a public hearing. And I just feel like there's some external facing goals that I think the city population, I don't mind the internal goals, because I feel like you really talk to your employees, but the external goals, probably the average citizen in Fitchburg doesn't know that they're happening. So I'm a bit concerned about that. And within the plan, I'm not trying to sound hypocritical here, being on the Greenfield steering committee for the neighborhood plan, but I do strongly also believe in agriculture. I mean, I grew up in this area, and thank you for mentioning that it's still 49% of the city, and it's a good deal of District 4. I feel like there needs to be more education to the urban and suburban population about agriculture, because I think probably they just look at it as a bunch of fields of corn, which will fulfill the manifest destiny of Fitchburg to be all 35 square miles of, suburbia. And I think that's gonna take a very long time. And I'd like to see better references to it in the strategic plan because they were taken out. It was like page 10 was just totally removed. So I'd like to hear your response to that. And at some future point, I'd like to meet with you maybe about the other feedback. So.
I can give an update.
Yes, the strategic plan, our deputy city administrator, he's in charge of compiling all the information. I submitted a lot of input, okay? And I read your input, and I read you submitted input, and many others and other presidents submitted input. And also the Healthy Neighborhood Committee also was in part of that. So he's collecting, he has been busy with all the other stuff happening in the city, to be honest. But he had to compile all the feedback and provide a revised version. And he had to go back to all the committees, okay? Because he had to come back to, to Healthy Neighborhood, the new committee that we just created, the Equity Committee, plan, CEDA, it's gonna run through all of those. So I don't think that this plan is gonna be ready even by the end of the year because we need to, I want to be sure that all the comments that were submitted are included, okay? Because I have a lot of questions about the plan, too. So this is where we are. So you have to be patient, but you're gonna see it again. It's gonna be running through committees again, okay? And the other thing is about the agricultural. I want to mention that last year I put in the CIP to create an agricultural museum for the city. And when I took that plan, the idea to the Ag and Rural Affairs Committee, they didn't like it. I tried to be, because I think we need to have, we need to think about that, how we can create a place where people can learn about our history, heritage. And the other day, doing some research about farmland, I found out about this agricultural plan that we did in 2017 for 10 years. And I said, wow, look at this plan. And they have a lot of action items. And I sent that to Micah because he's in the Ag and Rural Affairs Committee. And I said, Micah, you need to revise that with the team and say where we are and what are the other things that we want to see. So, so this was sometimes my concern when we do all these plans. Sometimes we put it in a drawer, but we need to be more accountable of the action item in those plans. Yeah. Okay.
Can I say, hold on. Just to respond to that too, I think sometimes, so I said, yeah, I'm the alder on the Ag and Rural Affairs Committee, and I think sometimes, that's a committee, they meet with themselves and talk about the Ag and Rural Affairs, and it doesn't kind of get out to the other committees. And so I think we have an opportunity to kind of partner with them. I know that like the Bike and Ped Committee is looking at doing kind of bicycle tours around certain areas of the city, and I think that that's a good idea to like partner with Ag and Rural, because there's certainly like a bike tour you could do around the rural community and like see a bunch of the old, stuff and sites in the city. So I think there's opportunities in the future to kind of partner with that and kind of get some more exposure that way too. Yeah.
I don't want to hog the microphone here, but I did have two more questions. One is for the fire chief, and then two for actually Chief Morales. The first for the fire chief is that you said there was an uptick. Is he still here? Yes, you are. Okay. Thank you. You didn't fall asleep. There's been an uptick in calls, and I would like to know, I don't think probably it's structure fires. I'm guessing it's accidents and calls for EMS, and I'd like you to elaborate on where the increase in calls is coming from.
The increase in calls mainly is, oh, the sun is gonna burn me. The main increase in calls, which is the same for everywhere across this country, is calls for EMS service. Our crashes, for me, from where I come from, are very, very low. We're doing great with automobile crashes as far as our response goes. But yeah, it's emergency medical calls. The aging population is taking a pretty big toll on the EMS service and the fire service, obviously. So that's mainly what it is. And anywhere across the country, you'll see 65 to 80% of all emergency response are medical calls. So, good.
And you said to talk about what Fitchburg is doing well. We've had calls to the house, and EMS and the fire department has been fantastic, and I just want to compliment you guys. Yeah. My other two questions are for Chief Morales. The first is the future of a training facility here in Dane County, since there was a kind of coalition of the willing, and I saw the signed papers of various people of influence within the county. I think Melissa Agard was there too. Is there the opportunity to start to move forward with this in the next few years as far as a needs assessment countywide? And then my second question is regarding the incident with Mr. Price last year. The officer in question, one of the things that came out of that was that he did not have crisis intervention training, and I'm wondering if that's going to be a requirement and what that would cost the city and how we could help you guys to get that for every officer.
Let's see. The two questions that you have are an hour apiece in responses. But the first, the training facility, the accountability in law enforcement is huge. And we can't have enough training. As I indicated, the turnover in law enforcement, whether it's Dane County, statewide, nationally, there's been a large turnover in law enforcement simply because if you watch the news, there's been a lot of negative, in 2020 there was a lot of negative media attention on police. You got a great police department here in the city of Fitchburg, but there was a large turnover here. We need training. Dane County needs training. The county of Dane is growing. So we talk about Fitchburg. Some Prairie's growing there. Just the surrounding areas of Madison are growing, including Madison, where the increase in staffing in law enforcement is going to come. It will come. Some cities, they're maintaining their staffing and they're increasing. Cities like Fitchburg, we're struggling, but you're going to need that. The only training facilities you have is the city of Madison, and Madison's training facility is for Madison, although they're nice enough to rent it out to the local law enforcement. Now you have Dane County Sheriff's Office that also opens it up. But when you have several jurisdictions, more than 20 jurisdictions within Dane County, and you also, we forget about the federal partners, where they rely on the local facilities to train themselves, you end up finding that it's not you picking your training dates, it's those facilities picking yours. The new facility here will allow us to get us classroom space for training. We do have a physical place to do anywhere from negotiations to hand. What we're missing in this new station, and it's controversy, but law enforcement carry guns. We have to be able to train with firearms. Some part of the public says you don't need to train. We do, because then you have an incident where law enforcement has to use their firearm, and then they're questioning, why did we use it in that way? So we're missing that piece. The range is one thing we're missing, and it's still a talk. There's no answer. I can tell you in Fox Valley, Oshkosh, they're building their training facility for the area. I know that there's other areas within the state that it is a big deal. We rely on the technical colleges. The technical colleges are overwhelmed. I don't have a solution. I brought it up for Dane County. There is a need. There was petition signed. We didn't get it. Eventually, something's going to have to give, and we will have that. And I've had those discussions for the mayor on other pieces. As far as Mr. Price, sad situation, but we hear a false narrative. You read an article in the paper, and there's people who call themselves experts, but are they really experts? There was nobody denied any type of service. Police responded and handled that assignment appropriately. Unfortunately, a life was lost. The officers did what they had to do. The officers did, they were within policy, they were within their training They were within the guidelines, whether it was our state law enforcement and training standards. We had a real use of force expert opine, and we did produce the mayor and some of the local media channels asked for our internal assessment that looked at that incident through several levels. There's still an opportunity for a lawsuit. The family can do that, so I will be minimal on my responses. They still have a chance to sue the city if they like, and I will be limited on what I can tell you. But the actions of what the officers, their training, that all was with, they were, they did what they had to, unfortunately, but it was all within their training, within policy. The supervision that was there was proper. The equipment was that they used was proper and used in the proper environment.
In crisis intervention training, is that just, does the state, thank you. Crisis intervention training, does the state just sort of consider that as an add-on, or is there a move among legislative bodies to require it? And also, I'm sorry, a follow-up question on CARES team. Are we going to get CARES team? We have a social worker, but that person is truly probably already pretty busy by now, and it would be nice to have somebody that's trained to go out and address some of these calls.
I can ask a question about CARES.
Okay. We often believe that a person is under crisis. There was more evidence in here that this was more drug-induced. So we often use crisis intervention. We have officers trained in crisis intervention. I also have a crisis negotiations team, which if there was an incident where we needed to negotiate with somebody, we have trained negotiators. I created that when I got here, and we will be increasing their training so that we have them on call for an environment. But often there's a lot of de-escalation training that our officers go. On every in-service training, we try to include some type of de-escalation. They train four times, there's in-service 4 times a year, which is practical and class, and that's part of it. And with crisis intervention training, when you use that term, there's a lot that goes into understanding the mental health crisis that individuals go through. But at the end of the day, what officers need to learn and what we train them is de-escalation. So they do a lot of that piece.
Regarding the CARES program, last year we applied for the program because it's a matching program, okay? So the municipality had to allocate, like, I don't remember exactly, it was like a 20% of the match. And last year we had the money in the budget and we applied, but then county decided to give all the money to the care programs to only one municipality. It was San Prairie. So, and we don't have the money this year to go to CARES program. So that one, we tried last year, yeah. Any other question? Yes, please.
I have a concern and then a question, I guess, a couple things too. And I guess technically my concern is not in District 4, but if I'm here, so I'm crashing. I live in Jamestown, in the Jamestown neighborhood, and I've lived there for 12 years. And I've never felt unsafe in my neighborhood, so I would agree that I feel safe. I really value the diversity of my neighborhood. And I have felt safe there until recently when I noticed that a flock camera has been installed on the light post of Williamsburg Way and Whitney Way. And this is an intersection that I go through almost every time that I leave my home. And I would prefer it not be there. So it raises a lot of concerns for me about data privacy, about potential misuse, about the potential for the AI to get it wrong, because there are examples to support all of these things that have been happening because of these flock cameras that are proliferating across our country. And I know that other communities have already said no to flock. I know that in Madison, they've got a community control over police surveillance ordinance, so they have to get community input. I think I was also just surprised because I'm a pretty engaged citizen and I had no idea that this was part of the plan and that this was going to be put up in my neighborhood. So I guess I'm just concerned and.
Can you give me an example of something that happened negative here in Fitchburg with Flock?
I don't have an example because this camera just went up. I'm saying that nationally there are many examples. There have been police officers who have used the system to stalk their exes. There have been people whose cars have been identified as stolen because the AI got it wrong, and families and children have been put under gunpoint because they're suspected of being in a stolen vehicle that wasn't actually a stolen vehicle. ICE has been colluding with municipalities to get their data to track down people. And there's even been stories coming out of Texas that they've been using it to track women who are leaving the state to get abortions. So I have a lot of concerns, and I don't think it is, I think it would be naive for us to think that we can trust a corporation like Flock with our data. And so I think, yeah, I don't know what decision-making process went into that and what the plans are. I just would prefer it not be in my community because it doesn't make me feel safer.
First and foremost, I can't explain what happens in other areas when we're broad on saying we heard things happen. That has not happened. That has not happened here. There's policies about doing that. Simply, I'll give you what technology that we've had probably for the last 40 years. When you talk about stalking, I have the legal authority, or actually I have access, not authority. I have access to check your plates out right now and run your name. But if I do it for personal reasons, I lose my job. That's the same thing if we were to use Flock. I lose my job. I'm gonna finish my thought. I heard you, go for your piece. So there's policies in place to prevent that. I want an example that happens here because I can give you examples over the weekend. Those cameras led us to 2 stolen cars. One of those stolen cars, that person tried to run over a police officer. When we tried to, we stopped that person. We ended up catching him, but he rammed the squad car. That happened on Friday. Over the weekend, that flat camera picked up another stolen car. These individuals, this ring of individuals led to identification, credit cards, and a number of things that were used in crimes by these individuals. That's what that did. Going into the future, we worry about this, but what is Google happening? If you look at what surveillance cameras, private, not government, each and every one of us is on some type of system or some type of AI in the private sector where they're learning more about you. How many times has somebody grabbed their phone and they start researching something and it's popping up because it hears your voice? That's the future. It's not going away. The private sector has a ton more information in each and every one of us than any one of these cameras. Last December, there was a bank robbery. At that bank robbery, we were able to identify the vehicle involved within 48 hours. Had we had better technology, we would have been able to identify that vehicle that day. It took us almost a month, 3 weeks, to be able to take them into custody. Now that takeover robbery was like what you see in the movie. They came in with rifles, they were masked, they had guns, and they took a large sum of money from that bank, right up here on Fitchburg. Had it not been for that, we would not have been able to identify that they were involved in a bigger chain of bank robberies or robberies. When we took them into custody, they were ready to do their next bank. And the reason why I bring that one up is we could talk about victims and suspects. But now when you do an incident where you rob a business, we talk about true and innocent victims. And for that gun to go off and hurt somebody, that's what we're there for. That's what we use this technology for. I know there's gonna be a difference of opinion. This is a longer conversation to discuss here, but to say and bring something up that happens somewhere else when we have policies in place, when we do these things, is unfair to us as well. The future of law enforcement. $150,000 for a police officer with benefits and salary. The future, if you look at it, is technology to help what you have for staffing. And when we're talking about taxpayer money, I will have to answer to the purse, right? To say, how can I keep you safe? And that's ultimately my goal. Thank you.
Before you finish, could you explain what's a flock camera?
What
does it stand for, and does it belong to Fitchburg?
Flock camera is just one company, but it's license plate readers. They read license plates, and then they're able to notify you if that license plate is wanted in a crime. If we enter that plate and we're looking for that plate for a crime, or it's stolen, it will notify the police. That's all it is. It's nothing more.
Catch plates and transmit it right away?
It transmits it. And what you also have is, we had that technology for years. It was just on the squad car. It was a license plate reader that we had on the squad car. Now it's just physically placed in one location.
I think it's do you have another question? I do have another question. Okay.
I do have another question, and I will put this to bed, but I do recommend that everybody go and get more information about Flock and what they're doing in communities, because that was, I think, an oversimplification of what they are and what that company is doing. So, F-L-O-C-K, like flock, like a herd of birds, or, oh, I don't think it's actually an acronym. I think that's just the name of it. Okay, so my other question is more about economic development. So another issue that a lot of communities in our nation and in Wisconsin are facing are companies wanting to build data centers. And I was just wondering if Fitchburg has a position on that, and if we would be, I would prefer not to have a data center in Fitchburg, so I guess I'm curious what like the city's position is on that.
Okay. Hopefully we're in sync, we'll see. Well, we actually, I don't know if you know this, but we have a data center here in Fitchburg along Nobel Drive. I actually worked on that project. It was an interesting one to cite and all the different criteria that goes into it. We've got a tier 3 data center, so from a safety standpoint, E4, I think, tornado can hit it, and it's still going to be up and standing, and then it's got the backup generation, and one of the reasons they were interested in that location along Nobel Drive is that we've got a substation on South Fish Hatchery Road, and we've got one on Sain Road. So they were that was a sweet spot for them in the middle of those two substations there from an energy reliability standpoint. That data center actually can be doubled in size. It's a smaller one. You know, it's not one of the big mega data centers or anything. We actually are in some conversations about, you know, could there be another mid-sized data center here in Fitchburg? And I think we're open to taking a look at that, at least in the Economic Development Office. I won't speak for the mayor on that. But we also are working with our utility partner, Madison Gas and Electric, on that. You know, that's the #1 criteria for them as far as energy availability. Did you want to add something?
Oh, yeah. I was reading a lot about that and what is happening in other municipalities here in Wisconsin. I think we have to have a discussion at the council level, because those type of, the big ones, you know, the big companies, they, you know, is the amount of water, the pollution, you know, that they generate. And that one is something that, the one that we have in Fitchburg is very small. They have been here for, I don't know, for many, many years operating. People, they don't even know that, but we have one, it's very small. But the one that are on the news are the big ones, you know, like, but that one is a conversation that we need to have a discussion with the Common Council about what is the position of the city. I have some concern.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why communities are doing this. It's a facility that requires no maintenance, no services, and it's just a giant pile of tax money that they are getting for doing it. But as I said earlier, I have an economics background. The thing that these things bring with it is called externalities. So that's the increased energy costs for everyone else that lives in the community. That's the water usage. That's everything that comes along with it. And so that is the issue with these things. The other thing that bothers me about it is the sprawl of it. We are constantly talking about how we can best design these neighborhoods to be, to bring some density in them so that we are not, we talked about farmland as well, so we are not building things and taking over the farmland in this city. And the reason that we have high density areas in these neighborhood plans is so that we aren't constantly sprawling out into the farmland and the agricultural land in the city. And so that's another reason to take a look at this. But yeah, it would obviously be a very substantial discussion.
Do you want to add?
I was just going to say, if there was another future data center or even kind of the mega warehouses, we're not in that level because we're not off the interstate and everything there. So we would be more that mid-size if there was a data center or, like the big Amazon warehouse in Cottage Grove and everything. We wouldn't be at that level. We don't even have the land for that availability as far as all in one contiguous acreage.
They take a lot of land, yeah.
Hi, I've lived here literally my whole life in Fitchburg. So first of all, I just want to say thank you guys for holding these meetings. For most of my life living here, I went to school literally at Fenner Prairie and Savannah Oaks. So start to finish, I feel really lucky getting to live here. I'm also just barely in area 4, so I guess I'm technically part of this line.
We welcome you.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Exactly. I just kind of wanted to go back to the prior flock comment. My background is in cybersecurity and data analytics. I just wanted to know if there was any consideration given towards the cybersecurity side of it. 2 months ago, Flock actually had a 0-level leak, so people had live access to all 83,000 cameras around the country. They had access to police officers' dash. Was this given any kind of consideration during the process? And as a follow-up to this, just to kind of get full context, because I'm not trying to be, agitated or anything. UW-Madison, as well as several other college campuses, hosted hackathons. They showcased that within about an hour, hour and a half, relatively entry-level computer scientists like myself could gain access to the communicative protocols, effectively man-in-the-middle attacks, pretty rudimentary kind of stuff with some wire sniffers. Was that given any kind of consideration when bringing in this partnership? I know you had your point about people having, Ring doorbells and other kind of cameras. I don't really have a say on what people do in their houses, but obviously as public servants, it's a little bit of a different threshold, right, in how money is spent. So.
The hack part is our IT. We have an IT, and if that was a piece, I did not hear about the story about Flock. Flock is just one company. There's a lot of other companies. And the technology there, though you can use other projects. We can talk about this, and I don't want to take over the mayor's piece. But we do have our IT that focuses on cybersecurity. On the law enforcement side, we have a consortium with 5 other cities. And within those 5 other cities, these are things that are discussed, and our IT department works on it. So I wouldn't be able to speak at the level from your part. But as far as something being stolen, how many times do we get our information, that letter that our credit card, our names on our credit card were taken? It happens in a number of different venues, not that you want it, but the ability to hack is at all levels. Even, like I said, when you have TikTok, Google, how much of that is gathering your information and using it for positive and negative?
The problem for me as a cybersecurity expert, I guess, from my perspective and my work perspective, it's an issue of opting in, because as you said, right, in any kind of cybersecurity field, and your IT people will probably tell you the same thing, it's a question of when, not if, right? Any kind of firewall you build, any kind of third-party company that says they're under lock, you can find ways in. It's whether it's social engineering or code-wise, there's always options. So I guess it's more of an issue of risk assessment, right? When we look at these things. And when we're putting up these stationary devices rather than, with a cop car, because obviously you need things to be able to do your job. No one should argue that, right? But with these stationary ones, people who, say, live near them or pass by them on their way to work every day cannot opt out. And that's the power of public, right? And so I'm just asking, yes, Flock is just one company. All these companies have similar problems, right? I deal with AI-related issues now because everyone's trying to, vibe code and expose vulnerabilities. So then it's kind of a question of what kind of risk assessment is done before the partnership is put in. Is there any kind of comprehensive stuff? Obviously, they're a company, so they're not going to reveal their source code, but what is the weighing of that, the cost-benefit analysis?
We'll have to take this on another conversation. Give me your information if you want to go to the side, because that's something that our IT helps us weigh in. Our IT that works for the city looks at every product that we purchase or buy, whether it's through the consortium, and they provide your piece of what you're indicating. That's beyond my pay grade when it comes to technology. I'm not the techie guy, but there are conversations that are brought up, and we do vet. We do identify the constant threats of being hacked per se. Our IT is constantly giving us updates if there's any potential in any of our equipment of that happening.
Oh, you can ask it while you're the next one.
I am an expert. So I want to just briefly talk about this in that step past whether the usefulness to the city or the police department. This is a city meeting, but what this is a larger conversation around the balance between the privacy that we want as a society and how much we're willing to give up to get services or benefits for other reasons. So it is a balancing act between those two things. And so again, I would also be happy to talk privately about how we came to the decision to use these, and I actually would need to get more information on that as well. So I'm happy to talk privately, but it is, this is a much larger societal conversation than fits in this room, but I'd be happy to, again, follow up as well.
Any question? Oh, Patrick.
Yeah, two topics, one at a time, and I think these should be pretty simple answers to this. There's a mobile home park on MM on the west side, south of Bern. I know the city building inspection is working with them. Some units have been demolished because they were either in bad shape or unoccupied or both. What's the city's somewhat longer plan for this? Is it to reduce it down to units that are in good shape and it continues, or is the city looking to eliminate the whole mobile home park?
So that park is a private park. We don't own that park. It has been a lot of issue in the last 2 years because the owner doesn't live in Wisconsin, and he's not cooperating, and he's neglecting the park. And there were a lot of issues last year and this year with the sewer, the garbage, the quality of the water. We are working with DNR. We have plenty of conversation at the council level. Right now, we're working with Dane County, but we raised, how many? 9 units? We raised 9 units because he was trying to sell those units, and we are totally, inhabitable, you know what I mean? And so the city, because it's a public health issue, we decided to raise all those units, and it cost the city almost $70,000, but we are putting back that on his tax bill, so eventually he will need to pay for that. But we are monitoring the situation very closely. We hope that that park go to, Dane County has to close it, because they have the permit, they hold the permit. Or that we are waiting for that, so because the condition in that park and the people living there are getting worse. But we are working with the residents to try to find other housing option in the meantime, because the next time that the sewer system breaks, I don't know what it's going. We need to close the park.
Okay, so it's more on Dade County, but you're looking to close it.
We are working with the county, yes. It's more on the owner now, you know what I mean? But it's a private park.
I mean, my ideal scenario is that owner gets out of there and agrees to sell it to someone, but just no one sees that happening anytime soon. And so then my next concern after that is for the residents of that park and making sure that they have a place to go, if something were to happen. Because the main issue is with the sewer, and that if something were to happen there, then it's an immediate, you have to leave, this is a public health hazard. So, yeah.
That's what I was wondering, is the goal to close it or just reduce it down?
We hope we can close it, or we hope that we hope that it can be closed, but we have people that are interested in the park, maybe, because this is another housing option. There is a lot of people that live there, and we have seen that type of park in Dane County that they're well maintained. But right now we cannot do anything, we cannot go and close it, because if he's still paying the taxes, like he's not paying, he's behind 3 years, I think so. But we are at that point. We're waiting for something happens, and then we can find a better suitor for that property, yes.
So
It's almost 8 o'clock, so
yeah.
5 more minutes.
The other topic I just wanted to check on here, the CIP for this year was already discussed and done, and I know that things go into the budget then for 2026. Irish Lane is the border between District 3 and District 4. There's like 6 different projects that are scheduled, at least on the CIP, for 2029. All I'm wondering is, at this point, does the administration, the alders, the council, Public Works, leaning towards all of those many projects going ahead in 2029 as scheduled, or things are likely to change, something move ahead, something move back, because it was sort of alluded to in the discussion that it could change. It's like, don't worry about it this year in 2025 for 2026 action, but there's time to make changes before we get to 2029. So I'm wondering which way this seems to be leaning right now.
Okay, Rose can answer.
So yeah, like you alluded to, Patrick, a lot of those projects are in various states of flux timeline-wise for different reasons for each project, honestly. One reason is development along that corridor. We don't necessarily need some of the projects until there's solid development in that area going forward. So there's really no reason to do them too early. There's also the question of grant money. We've applied for several grants on particularly the road reconstruction parts of those projects, and we're waiting to hear on those grants whether we'll get them in this current funding cycle for this grant, which ends in 2030, or whether we don't get that grant and we need to reapply, in which case it'd be done after 2030. So there's not a answer whether we're leaning one way or the other. It just depends on a lot of different factors for each project individually, if that makes sense.
And you know that sometimes, project in the CIP, we say we are going to do it in 29, and then nothing happened because something is delayed or we don't have the funding. So it's a plan, like he mentioned, can be flexibility, But the ideal is to do some of those projects in 2029. Any other comment? Last question.
just curious on the Fitchburg Road, is Town of Verona helping with that project at all?
So the town of Verona is contributing money to the design of this project. We have a signed intergovernmental agreement with them that funds 7% of the design for the project, which means if you do the math, Fitchburg is funding 93%. We will have another intergovernmental agreement coming up soon for the construction part to assign an amount that the town will contribute to the construction. Part of the issue why they're paying less than the city of Fitchburg is if the town were to redo this road, they wouldn't put in the bike path, they wouldn't put in the bike lanes, they wouldn't put in all the storm water, the roundabout. But the city of Fitchburg has, you know, we try to provide more services, as many as we can. Traffic safety is obviously a huge priority. That's why we're looking at the roundabout. We have issues with the flooding under those highway bridges, so that's why we're putting all this money into the storm sewer. Yes, we also do have a grant from, it's a federal grant that passes through the state, gives us the money, but it originates with the federal government for, I believe it's $2.7 million on that project. That grant that I just was talking about is just for the road.
Oh, for the road, okay.
Yeah. I think there's other grant money for Goose Lake, but I am not 100% sure on the amounts or where it's coming from.
Were there traffic studies done on the certainly were traffic studies done on that. I mean, there's a lot of traffic comes from M and from beyond. It isn't all coming off of Lacey Road, and it isn't all coming from Goose Lake and that area there. I mean,
you know, with the reconstruction on Lacey Road and the Costco in Verona, you know, we can see more traffic going through that area now. You know, so yeah.
And on all of our big reconstructions, we do traffic studies. On this one, we looked at a traffic signal, a roundabout, a three-way stop, leaving it as what it is now, a one-way stop, which we settled on the roundabout as the best option here because of a lot of different factors. And the majority of traffic on that road does come from Fitchburg, whether it's, you know, coming south from McKee or coming on Lacey. There's certainly people from the town and from other places that use that road as well, though. You're correct.
Okay, I think it's 8:07, so I want to say thank you very much for coming. If you have any question, follow-up question, please follow up with me. All my information is in the website, or with Micah, with everyone here. So I want to say thank you, muchas gracias, and have a nice night. So this is my business card. You want to?